Are you ready for a story? This story is called King Midas and His Golden Touch. It's a myth from Greece. Long ago, at the time of the ancient Greeks, a powerful king lived in a place called Phrygia. Phrygia was where the country Turkey is today. The king's name was Midas. Today, little is known about King Midas by historians. Still, there is one story about Midas that is famous. The story is a myth, and it was told by both the ancient Greeks and ancient Romans. The story is still told today by storytellers around the world. It is a tale of a greedy king whose love of gold became a curse. King Midas had everything that a ruler might want. His kingdom was large. His palace was beautiful. He owned many great treasures. The king was loved by his family, especially by his beautiful daughter Marigold. Midas also loved Marigold very much. But there was one thing Midas loved even more than Marigold, and that was gold. Every day, Midas stacked his gold coins in neat towers, counting his gold. Each day, Midas took the towers down, piece by piece. Then he built them back up again. One morning, the god Dionysus and his good friend Silenus were walking on the path next to King Midas's garden when Silenus became tired and decided to have a nap. "You keep walking," said Silenus. "I'll meet you a little later." Dionysus waved goodbye and kept walking. Silenus sat on a bench in King Midas's garden. He leaned against a tree filled with birds and fell asleep. As he slept, he snored. His loud snoring scared all the birds away. When Silenus finally woke up, he realized he didn't know how to get to Dionysus's house. Silenus was lost. In the palace, Midas was taking a break from counting his gold. He looked out of a window and saw all the birds fly out of a tree in his garden. "What is scaring all those birds?" he asked his daughter. He and Marigold went to the garden to find out. In the garden, Midas and Marigold found Silenus. "I am a friend of Dionysus," said Silenus. "Can you help me find his house?" "Dionysus is my friend too," Midas said. "I'll take you to his house, which is not far from here. But first, come to my palace and share a meal with us." Midas treated Silenus like a brother. Midas had a feast prepared for dinner, and Silenus slept in the king's best guest room. The next morning, Silenus was served a delicious breakfast. Then Midas took Silenus to Dionysus's home. Dionysus was happy to see his lost friend. "Oh, I thought you were eaten by lions," he said to his friend with a smile. Dionysus thanked Midas for his help. "Let me give you a reward for taking care of my friend," said the god. "Tell me your greatest wish, and I will make the wish come true." Midas answered right away. "Oh, I want everything I touch to turn into gold," said Midas. "Are you sure you want that power?" Dionysus asked. "Oh, yes, I'm sure," Midas said. "Who wouldn't want that?" Dionysus looked worried for just a moment. Then he said, "All right, I'll give you your wish, but soon you may find you regret this wish." So Dionysus made Midas's wish come true. From that moment, everything that Midas touched with his hands turned to gold. On his way home, Midas skipped like a little boy because he was so happy. He picked up a twig from the ground. The twig was changed into gold by the touch of his hand. Midas picked a flower. It turned to gold too. He touched trees, bushes, and even the walls of his palace when he got there. Midas touched all the stone statues in his palace. They became gold. Everything turned to gleaming gold. Midas laughed and shouted, "Ha ha! I'm the richest man on earth! All the excitement made Midas hungry, So he sat at the great table in his dining room, which was covered with food. He picked up a bunch of grapes to eat, but they turned to gold. He picked up a piece of bread. It turned to gold too. Huh? How will I eat? He thought. I can't eat gold. Suddenly, he had a terrible thought. Maybe this wish is really a curse, he said. Maybe my new power will cause me terrible problems. Midas threw the golden food across the room. In the next room, Marigold heard her father. She ran into the room to see him. No! Midas yelled when he saw her coming to him. He tried to stop her, but it was too late. His daughter threw her arms around him and was instantly turned into gold. Midas cried loud enough to scare the birds from the trees again. He now knew that gold was not the most important thing in his life. Ah! What a fool I was, he shouted, throwing gold objects out of his windows. He wished with all his heart to never see gold again. He wished with all his soul to have his daughter back. Dionysus heard the king's cries and came to him. My friend, go to the river and wash your hands, Dionysus said. The river will wash away your power. Everything that was changed to gold will change back to what it was. Midas went to the river. As he washed his hands, he saw the gold wash away from them. Then Midas turned to look at his palace. Everything was back to what it was before. At the palace entrance, Marigold was waiting for her father. King Midas hugged his daughter. From that day on, he counted only his blessings and not his gold. The end.